Mike, you and I had a conversation.
We did
earlier in the week that you are excited about one Tommy DeVito, Mr. TD. His initials are TD, which is very funny.
It's right.
As an Italian in Jersey, you feel very represented by the fact that we've got a local Italian guy that you may or may not have done a shot of Jaeger with at a local bar earlier in your life, unknowingly before he was in the NFL. Who knows, right? So tell us about your emotions on this, Mike, because I know you're kind of getting excited, even though it's the bye week for the Giants.
Yeah.
Talk about your feelings.
That's the best time for Giants fans right now to get excited. Bye weeks right now.
Right. Yeah, that's the only time we're allowed to be excited.
You're not wrong.
Not wrong. So we talked last week on the show, and we were joking about what is Tommy DeVito's post-career going to be, and it's going to be autograph signings at a Friendly's parking lot at a classic car show and stuff like that, signing autographs at a Denny's and different things like that. And then sure enough, during the week, I have the video, so I'm going to pull this up real quick and I'll talk over it. Tommy DeVito
wasn't he at something that was the equivalent of that? I think I found this and sent it to you. Or
yeah. So this is from NewJersey.com.
Okay.
This is the line of people trying to
get a store. Where is this?
The Deli.
In Wayne, New Jersey. Primo Hoagies at a deli.
Nice.
Signing autographs. We called this, and it happened like 3 days later.
Yeah. We did.
He's signing autographs for people in Jersey. And the thing I really struck me is what you were saying when you introduced the segment is that this is such a great New Jersey thing. Like, we're privileged to be in an area, New York City, biggest city in the world, one of the biggest cities in the world, center of the universe, but it still has that small hometown feel. It has the neighborhood feel. So this is such a Jersey, New York sports thing where the local kid is at a deli signing autographs for people in the suburbs. So this is why being a fan in New York is the best. I'm not saying they don't do this in other cities, but this is totally, totally perfect that this is happening, and that this horrible Giants team, we're lucky to have this kid. He lives with his mom, as we know. He's got the same name as Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. He's Italian. We're loving this. So this has been...
It is true, Mike. I want to hop in and say that he is the one bright spot onto what has been one of the most agonizing seasons in recent memory as a Giants fan, for sure. At least we get to kind of crack jokes, and at least those kids got to go get a nice chicken parm and get an autograph in the same line, it looks like. I think it's funny. I think it's great. I think it's cool. And like, I think you were kind of trying to say it's very uplifting, I would guess, for the area, which is the opposite of the record that this team has right now.
Well, you think that's the thing is with sports, and I have friends who are not into sports, and they think, oh, sports, why do people care so much? It's because of this. It's because it's your hometown. It's representative of your team. There was a time when you would have the same players every year, so they became part of your community. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Duke Schneider. These were New Yorkers, not even if they were from somewhere else. These were, New Yorkers by default. And they would be there forever. So now when you have a local kid like Anthony Volpe, I think Adam Fox is a New York guy, upstate New York or something, like he's on the Rangers.
He's from Long Island, I think.
He's from Long Island, yeah. So, and now with Tommy DeVito being the local kid, it's nice to have this because it's like it's one of us. And it's not that he's not just a fan; he's there. Even Jeter grew up a Yankee fan because he was originally from Jersey. His grandmother lived in Jersey.
The other Dylan Betances for the Yankees, and then also the Mets was
from the Bronx.
Yeah. Who was the other guy?
Todd Frazier.
The other reliever who went to the Mets. He went to the Red Sox and then the Mets. He was at the left.
Ottavino.
Yes, he's also a local Italian boy. So you're right. All right, Mike. There is an extra layer when you get some local fucking Italian kid, just from the fucking block
doing the hands.
It's so funny that like I don't know. Maybe I'm biased and I'm a super fan of the show. I think The Sopranos is mostly to blame, and we're being Italian just became like a meme, like on the internet. Like all the guy has to do to be funny and beloved is to just like it was just a picture of Tommy DeVito with the chain that says TD in like a wife beater with like a vague like background, and like it went viral.
Headband.
They were like, this looks like it looks like an extra from The Sopranos. It looks like a frame from the show. It's just an Italian guy standing there.
Yeah. It looks like a meme. You nailed it, because I don't know if you know this, but if you go on Wikipedia, because I was trying to read about him because I didn't know anything about him. His main picture is that picture. It's him with his black wife beater. It's like, this is like
the guinea
that means that somebody put it up and nobody changed it. They're like, no, this is perfect. This is exactly the academic referential picture we're going to use for this.
But he's really embracing it. He's really embracing it too. He loves it. Of course, the other players are doing this. I mean, we have Anthony Rizzo, who's Italian, and he's embraced it to a degree, but he doesn't have the same kind of vibe. And look, obviously, we know not everybody's the stereotype. But, Tommy DeVito is just all in on who he is, and we appreciate it, and it's a lot of fun, even though the Giants stink. At least there's this kid that we could appreciate. So we have Linsanity, we have DeVito sanity. That's
at least it's least it's fun, and it really is like
what a weird comparison.
It's something at least
DeVito sanity.
It's like it really is funny because it's like a fun little thing, and like in 10 years, like remember that time Tommy DeVito was signing wife beaters at a deli? But like
sign my sandwich, sign the salami. Yeah,
exactly. But it is actually it's even funnier when you contrast it with like what's going on, like the backdrop for New York football right now. Like we're so desperate for like anything to be fun that like Tommy DeVito is signing pictures at a deli after like he threw 3 touchdowns in one game. He had one nice game. He's like instantly like the most popular quarterback who's currently healthy to play. Like, and it just shows you like what an oasis he is in the desert of like in one game. He
it's so bad.
After watching Zach Wilson and Trevor Siemian and Tim Boyle and like
today was the
Daniel Jones. It's
I just remember because I other than the Giants with their one playoff victory last year, I was talking because I work with people who are a little older than me, and the question we were pondering was the worst era for New York football. Was it the 70s or was it the late 2010s? It's a damn toss-up of a question.
It's my dad still talks about the 70s like it's garden for life, and it might have. The Pisarcik fumble is like one of the defining moments that like that was like his Vietnam. Like he sees it when he closes his eyes at night. And I think we're close. Like between it's rough. If it wasn't for Tommy Coldcut, I think they might be there. Like
Tommy
Coldcut might be playing the Giants out of like a lottery pick, which is hilarious.
Let me ask another question. How many guys do you think? Because Mike, we talked about this a little bit. He's very like identifiable for what you think of when you think of Central Jersey. With the like you mentioned, Matt, too, like the wife beater and the big chain and all this. How many dudes do you think go to like the local LA Fitness or whatever, and they see him on TV and they think to themselves like, I just got to do a few more goddamn push-ups. I can do it. He's just like me. He's a towny Italian, just like me. Like I feel like there's something identifiable that people
totally.
Well, yeah,
totally. This is a victory for anybody who's Italian in New Jersey. We're all on the Giants. We're all on the Giants
town.
Right,
you can still make it. Tommy DeVito is the proof.
We're all on the Giants right now. So it really is I just know from my experience and my family, you see an Italian guy who reminds you of somebody from Brooklyn, somebody it's like one of us is there. So you can learn a little bit about, not to go off on a whole tangent, but you can learn a little bit about representation, something we're dealing with in this country. And in this scale, in this thing, even on a small scale, it's like, it's somebody like I would know, and they're playing on the Giants. So, it's fun to see and it's exciting, but they stink.
Mike, can you shed, as the most Italian person here, can you, not that that's a high bar to clear,
no.
Can you shed some light on, if I had to boil it down to one thing, like why, like people will make like funny Twitter posts like, I love The Sopranos, I wish Italians were real, like stuff like that. Can you shed some light on like, what is it about? If I had to boil it down to one thing, it's just that anything sounds funny when you say it like a New York or New Jersey Italian. It's just, and it goes back to like Scorsese movies and The Sopranos. There's just, if you say anything with that thick, like, get the fuck out of here, like even like people at work, people will do an impression of like my boss, like, hey, I talked to Paulie and he said, and they just do like a thick accent, and it's just you funny. You just start laughing.
I'm trying to think like the saddest thing that you can think of. Like, when the plane hit those fucking towers, you know what I'm saying? It was just like kaboom, like it's you're right. You can make almost anything funny with that accent.
No, it's kind of just a character. It's a no nonsense kind of guy. It's a local neighborhood guy. Nothing seems to bother him. I think people, like, why do people like gangster movies? Because they do the things that we only wish we could do. Not kill people, but like
some part of us wants to.
Some part of us out there, Mike. Yeah, some people we want rubbed out. It's yourself,
come on.
But it's that toughness. The one thing about our country is that we always look in the face of somebody who appears tougher and say, "You're nothing." So it's the underdog story, I guess.
Well, I think it's just there's something about Italian, like there's a certain macho bravado that comes with like that whole New Jersey, New York Italian thing, and it definitely like even just like Mike, you've definitely seen 25th Hour, right?
Yeah,
Spike Lee. Yeah. When he does the whole thing where he's like going down the list of everything he hates about all the different New York boroughs and every different culture, and when he gets to the and when he gets to the Bensonhurst Italians, and it's just a bunch of guys doing exaggerated, like, who is this guy? Get the fuck out! Like, they all get their St. Anthony medallions and their Louisville slugger bats, and I just start laughing instantly. There's just something so funny about the exaggerated, like, and obviously people talk like that, but there's just something about it that's so effortlessly funny, and I don't really know what to chalk that up to.
I don't know either. I'm sure you know, and your family would know. I mean, the people I knew from Brooklyn, the people who were friends with my parents and stuff like that, is they're more like, not that, they're more like a guy like Ray Romano, or they're more like what's the guy who just died, Alan Arkin, just typical New Yorkers, not even Italian, just typical everyday New Yorkers. Remember the guy Fred on Seinfeld who kept forgetting who Elaine was? I met him. Such a typical average New Yorker. So it's
there's something about the New York.
They're more like that.
Yeah, there's definitely like a certain element of like New York Italian or New York Jewish, like a certain there's a certain personality that's just. But I mean, and it's literally like global. Side Talk New York became like the biggest thing on the internet just by putting a microphone in front of people from New York and having them go, fuck out of here. That's literally all it is. It's brilliant. It's the greatest thing on the internet.
You make a good point, because there is something, and I notice it when I travel around the country, or even when I'm home in like rural Connecticut, to where the fact that like I've lived here for long enough to where by osmosis I've absorbed some of sort of that, like, I don't want to say toughness, but I want to say that straightforwardness of like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm fucking thinking right now. And, you need to fucking calm the fuck down right now. There's that directness, I think, that earns the respect of a lot of other cultures throughout the country and the world. And I think that that Italian accent, that Brooklyn, Jersey Italian accent, is very closely associated with that. So I think definitely what you're saying, there's some truth to that.
Yeah,
I think we're. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, the last thing I was going to say is that, you know what it is? It's the fact that where we live, and people talk about sports, it's like, oh, I don't want to play in New York. It's tough. It's toxic. Why do they trash the players?
Well, you're a little bitch then. You can't handle it.
But that's what it is. It's like we don't have time. We're so busy. Everything is so fast moving. There's no time for excuses, and it's the capital of the planet. Everything has to be the best. So I don't think there's anything wrong with striving to be the best. I don't think there's anything wrong with passing the excuses or making things tough. Could we be a little nicer? Yeah, but it's not going to happen. So fuck off.
No.
Forget about it.
You got to earn that respect.
Exactly. You know what's funny is Henrik Lundqvist, just to circle back, beautifully ties a bow on what I said at the beginning. Henrik Lundqvist, I was recently listening to him talk on a podcast he has, and he said the reason he loved playing in New York was because it was like they cared. They really cared. They were super passionate, but everyone was so busy and like had so much shit to do that like people would recognize you on the street, but it's like they wouldn't really stop you and like bog you down. It wasn't like a gigantic deal. They had stuff to do. Everyone was in a hurry. Everyone was in a rush. Everyone was like, they would be like, hey,
even the lunatics.
Like, move on.
They'd be like, yo, Henry, good save, brother, and then they just move on. That's it.
It's like they don't have time for you, and it's kind of like a fun little humbling. Like you have your own time. You can kind of be your own person, but they are super passionate and they care. So that's so funny.